I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. Aaron, would you like to lead with the pledge?
Oh, okay.
Well, no, you don't have to.
No,
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Welcome this evening. Well, the library is in the house.
Always.
I do know that, I thought Jan was on the way, but she's been trying to reach me. And Maura's sick and Christine's sick. So hopefully Jan's not sick too, but we have a quorum anyway. So, okay. I'm sorry, was there a question? Yeah.
I hope they're okay.
Maura was on a plane yesterday or the day before, and she's deathly ill now. She caught something on these planes are not very healthy. And Christine's not feeling good either. She's had a rough time. Her son was in a serious accident.
Maybe we shouldn't share personal
No, okay,
during a
good.
public
I won't.
meeting.
Yeah, okay, great. So we're gonna start, okay? The first thing I'm gonna talk about is the meeting conduct. Actually, it's not the conduct, it's the way that we're gonna present the meeting tonight, okay? We're here for a couple of important reasons. One of them is that Donna had some issues that we need to address, okay? So we're gonna start with, excuse me, I'm gonna spread germs now. We're gonna start with that, and then we'll go into non-public after that, okay? So the first thing we're talking about is a grievance. The grievance are actually set by the personnel policy, and so what the personal policy says is that, okay, a grievance under the section is defined as an alleged wrong considered by an employee as grounds of a complaint. So that's what this is, a complaint, okay? An employee who has a complaint may take up the complaint with the immediate supervisor verbally within 5 days of the incident, and then they would put it into writing, okay? So Donna took it up with Erin, okay? So when we go to each complaint, you have to tell me if she gave you a verbal or written and how it got passed on from there, okay? Mm-hmm. All right, good. I have new glasses and I can't read with them. The immediate supervisor shall give their answer within 5 working days back to the employee, okay? So each grievance by an employee must be in writing and must contain a statement of facts surrounding the issue and the provisions of this policy alleged violated, the relief requested, and the extent to which the employee has sought an informal adjustment of the grievance. Written grievance must be submitted to the library director within 10 days, working days, of the incident. So first, Donna would speak and tell her supervisor, and verbally within 5 days, and then within 10 days would present the written document, okay? The date the employee, the library director will meet with the employee within 10 working days after receipt of the written grievance, okay? And gives a written reply to the employee within 5 working days afterwards. So we're now like 20 days into the process, okay, basically. And then written complaints must be submitted to the board of trustees within 10 days after that. Okay, so we're basically into almost 30 days, okay? And in the event of denial of the complaint by the library director, the Board of Trustees' decision shall be final. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the complaint, we're gonna consider those provisions, the timeline for the written and the verbal, okay? And some of them are going to not be valid only because of the timeline. Because like basically, the timeline is everything should be done within 30 days, but the beginning process needs to be done within 10 to 15 days, where everyone's aware of it and can work on it, okay? So that's where we're gonna start. Questions? Any questions? No. Dawn, are you all set right now?
I'm ready.
Okay, so we're gonna go to the complaint, and we're gonna look at it paragraph by paragraph. Because I will say that Donna did do an excellent, progression of history of the thing. But we have to look at the timing of stuff, okay?
So, Madam Chair, if you don't mind, my understanding of what I could do during this meeting is that I would be the only one to speak, and that the board would not be able to respond to anything I said.
That's correct. We cannot respond, okay?
So how are you going to?
I am going to go paragraph by paragraph, determine if it's valid, and have you read it.
No, what do you
Okay.
mean?
No.
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, I'm
That is
following
not
the
what you
bylaws.
presented to her. You said she'd be able to read her
If it's a
statement.
valid complaint,
But
exactly.
if it's coming from Donna, it's valid.
Okay.
That is
The validity is
Donna
not
said
anything
it's
that
valid.
Donna said. We are
But you
not
can sit
questioning.
on it for 30 days. That's okay, right?
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Do we need to take a break now? We'll be
No.
here.
No, I don't
No.
think so.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
may I speak? I think, in all respect to Donna, I think you should allow her to address the entire complaint, and then the board can address it as a full. I don't think the timeline, I understand what you're saying regarding the procedure, but this is a timeline that's been built up the outcome is now this complaint. So I think by you removing the validity of those sections is completely disrespectful and not fair to Donna. So I would ask, as a respect to Donna, please allow her to read and acknowledge this entire complaint.
I'm not gonna waver from what the rules are, okay?
You
We
already
have-
are.
Excuse me, so are you right now, okay? Please.
Do you want to get into it, Jan?
Excuse me, just.
Where's the treasurer's report,
Excuse me,
Jan?
excuse me.
I don't want to
Just-
hear
All right,
about how we're
I'm
not
sorry,
following
we're
procedure.
taking a
break.
5-minute break, everyone
Everybody
leave.
out.
We're gonna spend the whole night doing 5-minute
You
breaks.
can't kick them out of a public meeting, they're here.
No, we're
But-
stopping it for 5 minutes, we're taking a break.
Liz, this
Okay.
might be a good time to reflect. The feedback is that we need to hear the full
We hear the
cumulative grievance from Donna. She very thoughtfully provided that to us a month ago. We need to thoughtfully hear it and then move into non-public to discuss it. It is very simple.
No,
You
it's
just
not
have
very
to
simple.
hear it
It,
and then go into non-public.
I'm sorry, it's against the rules of
It is
the,
absolutely
grievance.
not. It is absolutely
Yes, Jan.
not.
So, I think we should hear the complaint in its entirety, and then when we're in non-public, if you wish to, we can go paragraph to paragraph and figure out which applies. But I think that we should just hear the complaint and get on with the non-public session, because that's what my thought is.
Which is exactly what I said, and I would like to point out in your email to Donna, you did say that you would, in quote unquote, you would state your grievance and then be excused for non-public, which is exactly what she should be able to do.
Okay,
So I think Jan's option is quite, still following the procedure, you're gonna be following that in non-public, but allow her to speak her grievance, which is what
Okay.
you told her in this email that she can do.
let me put it this way. Out of respect for you ladies and for you ladies on both sides, okay? Out of respect, we will do that, okay? If I hear any clapping or booing or moose signs like I get all the time, we're gonna take a break, okay? Is that fair? If everyone acts politely and with decorum, what's your problem?
Why are you talking about news signs and taking a pause? You can't do that, only if you're going in non-public.
It's disruptive, okay? I guess we're not
Jan,
gonna
can we just
continue
move on
with this.
this
If-
meeting?
just keep
We've
going.
gotta keep going.
Liz, we have to continue going, you promised
We
her
can
to
take a
be-
5-minute break,
Jan, let's just.
okay?
let's
We
just-
can take a 5-minute break every time there's an
You're all night.
interruption.
Folks, if we can just, like,
relax, everybody relax.
Yeah.
Just take a minute, 1 minute.
I'm asking for respect for Donna and for everyone,
As we
okay?
are.
That's, huh?
As we are also.
Yes, as you are.
So I think we're
And
all
I
on the same
have-
page that we
yes.
want this to continue. So
Yes.
let's try to continue it, give Donna the respect that she deserves, and so we can move forward.
Right.
Okay.
And
Do
I agree with what Erin says. Erin, I'm agreeing what you say, but the respect happens both ways.
I understand that,
So it happens from them as well.
I
So
agree with
everybody
you.
has to
Yes.
kind of just chill.
let's get through this.
Okay, Donna, please, would you go ahead, in its entirety, read the document, okay?
So, you did not say that I had to read the document in its entirety. You said that I could say what I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I could summarize.
You
I
can
could say
actually,
something else.
yeah, you can give, bullet points type
Okay.
of thing, because
The
it's a
floor is
long
yours.
document to read,
Mm-hmm.
okay? I'm sure you probably already prepared and have it ready that way anyway. Okay, great.
Okay, I wanted to start with the dates. I verbally reported this to Erin on December 16th, 2025. I submitted the written report to Erin on December 23rd, 2025. And Erin submitted it to the board on December 29th, 2025. You have all of that in your emails for documentation.
And, okay, it was December 16th that you verbally did it, December 19th,
December 23rd that I written.
that you wrote, and we got it on December
29th.
29th. Okay, thank you.
Firstly, I wanted to address something that you said, Liz, at the last meeting. You gave an update to the public regarding this grievance that you had received and another complaint from a staff member. And you verbally said that the one that the board was taking more seriously was the complaint, which is not mine. It's the I submitted the grievance and followed the procedure of the board's grievance policy. I am very concerned that not only are you not treating your employees' concerns equally, but you publicly said that you're going to take that one more seriously. It's incredibly disrespectful and makes me question why you even have a grievance policy if you're not going to take it just as equally as seriously. So I just wanted to say that. I'm going to read the letter that I wrote that was attached to the timeline of events as well as the supporting documentation, dated December 23rd, 2025. This was written to Erin. Dear Director Matlin, I am writing to submit a formal grievance regarding recent retaliatory actions taken by the Leach Library Board of Trustees against me and other members of the Leach Library staff. The evidence supporting this grievance includes the timeline below, which is actually everything attached, which documents the board's increasingly disreputable behavior towards staff, as well as attached materials such as emails, policy documents, and public meeting records and recordings. Together, the timeline and attachments demonstrate my repeated good faith efforts to address and cope with the board's conduct. These efforts include taking time off and FMLA leave, work-related FMLA leave, requesting an ADA accommodation, speaking publicly at Board of Trustees meetings, communicating by email, and being open to participating in a mediation meeting. When speaking publicly, I consistently focused on recommendations that would benefit the library and the staff as a whole, rather than on personal gain. Over time, a clear pattern emerged in which my feedback, particularly when it identified policy violations, procedural errors, or other board missteps, appeared to frustrate certain board members. My involvement in a public statement of no confidence further prompted retaliatory actions. As documented in the attached materials, this frustration coincided with increasingly dismissive responses, reduced opportunities for staff input, and ultimately adverse actions affecting my role and staff benefits. Despite these efforts and my willingness to seek compromise, the Board of Trustees adopted an unpolished revision to the personnel policy on December 3rd, 2025, that removed the existing structure for equitable fringe benefits. On the same date, the trustees approved a revision to their bylaws and confirmed that the assistant director would no longer attend meetings as a compensated staff member unless invited by the chair. This decision effectively removed my voice from board meetings and altered my job responsibilities. As of today, I have not received a copy, and actually, currently as of today, too, I have not received a copy of the updated personnel policy that was approved on December 3rd, 2025, and no meeting minutes from that meeting have been posted. Through this grievance, I am seeking accountability from the Board of Trustees for their harmful actions and decisions. Specifically, I request the full restoration of library staff fringe benefits in the personnel policy. I understand that the board may wish to include a disclaimer, as I suggested during the Board of Trustees meeting on November 5th, 2025, to protect the library during challenging budget years. In addition, I request to be permanently invited to attend public Board of Trustees meetings as a compensated staff member in accordance with my job description. Respectfully submitted, John Plant. Timeline started April 2nd of 2025 when the board made a revision to the personnel policy that removed a longevity benefit that directly impacted me and one other staff member. I was very vocal about that and spoke during the public meeting during public comment and expressed disappointment that we were not involved or this was not communicated to us. I also asked at that meeting for that to be sent to me in writing by the board, and I never received anything in writing. I also made the suggestion to increase the educational incentive at that point to make up for it. That never happened, was not discussed by the board. And it was not in the latest draft of the personnel policy. June 14th, 2025. I was not present at this meeting, Board of Trustees meeting, but there was conflict and the police were contacted by the chair, or not directed by the chair, but requested by the chair. There were concerns brought up by other staff members regarding treasurer information. And at that meeting, Colleen Majors brought up specifically that a check had been written by the treasurer that had not been, no one had given her permission to from the board to do so. And she was reprimanded and immediately cut off in that meeting. And I included that to show that this is not just affecting me, it's affecting the whole staff, that your actions have been directed towards more than just me. On June 23rd, we received an email from Town Councilor Dan Bouchard from Aaron with an invitation from Dan Bouchard to share our concerns or issues that could be addressed during a mediation meeting with the Board of Trustees. I did choose to do that, and I won't read my whole email, but the way I approached it was, I think, very professional in that I presented my concern and then I also offered a suggestion for how to fix it. And unfortunately, I never got the opportunity to present that because the board postponed that meeting, promised us to reschedule, and never did. July 4th, I told Chair Thomas that the upcoming meeting on July 9th did not have 2 sessions of public comment as recommended by the board's bylaws and as voters have asked for. I didn't receive a response to that, and that meeting did have 1 public comment session. This marked the beginning of when the chair started limiting public comment or offering no public comment at all. That same day, I asked for a meeting with HR, and that is when I verbally disclosed the stress that I was under and discussed options for taking medical leave. On July 8th, I mixed that up. On July 4th, I requested the meeting. On July 8th, I actually had the meeting. On July 9th, I was the one that led the meeting as a staff member in Aaron's absence. And a lot happened at that meeting. The personnel policy was discussed and it was supposed to be voted on, but no draft document with changes was presented. the personnel policy that was attached to the agenda is the same document that had last been updated in April. The board's minutes state that I requested that staff have a chance to review any changes that the board was making prior to the next meeting. That did not happen. This meeting was nearly 5 hours long, and during which staff were told that they had already provided information, or we didn't provide enough information, or we need to come back with a proposal, and that the delays that we had were unacceptable. It essentially set up an impossible standard for staff. Staff were interrupted, corrected, admonished for our tone while attempting to clarify the facts. The board stated that issues have been unresolved for months, but also simultaneously rejected our proposals, canceled your meetings, or deferred your decisions. It's also where he requested granular tracking of multitask time and donation itemization, which some could argue is outside of the trustees' scope and involves day-to-day management, which is generally not something the trustees get involved with. July 15th, I submitted a notification form to Human Resources. This was my last day of work prior to taking work-related medical leave, which was supported by my provider's documentation. I notified the board of my leave on the 16th. During my absence, there was more discussion of bylaws and personnel policy, particularly at the August 6th meeting. And it was noted in the minutes that the vote ultimately was postponed. In the draft version of the personnel policy that was presented at the August 6th meeting, the structure of the staff's annual cost of living and merit increases remained in the document. The scheduled work week and hours section that included administrative time was also still included but highlighted as an option to remove. This change would directly impact me as it would replace an 80-hour time bank with 16 to 24 hours of holiday pay. Well, for me, it would be 16. Language is added that would make employees at the top of their salary range ineligible for merit payments. This change would impact more than 2/3 of the library staff, making them ineligible for merit compensation, including me. Both full-time and part-time employees in that policy were eligible for holiday pay, and both full-time and part-time employees were eligible for tuition reimbursement in that draft. I returned to work on September 12th. September 12th was when we scheduled for me to come back, and I received acceptance of a permanent workplace accommodation from HR. On the 15th, I returned to work. On the 24th, I emailed feedback regarding the board's memorandum of agreement with the town. I did not receive any response to my suggestions, because the board was supposed to be revisiting it at the next meeting. Saturday, October 4th, a subcommittee of up to 3 trustees met at the Leach Library to discuss and revise the personnel policy to incorporate legal advice that the board had received from the attorney. This meeting was not posted to the public or recorded, and no minutes were posted. The staff were also not invited to participate. October 6th, the Board of Trustees agenda was posted and included a draft that was different from the previous draft that had been posted. In that one, the same draft. That one was the same draft that had been posted October 6th. At 6:04, that agenda went out at 4:30 p.m. on October 6th. At 6:04 p.m. on October 6th, I emailed a staff statement announcing that a majority of the Leach Library staff voted no confidence in the Board of Trustees that same day. I delivered the statement publicly during the town council meeting, and you can see it on the recording if you want to watch it. On October 7th, I emailed the board that I had placed copies of the statement in mailboxes for you all. Liz also came in to personally speak with me in my office and referenced the statement of no confidence and expressed that she wanted to resolve issues between the board and the staff. I shared that I was concerned that the personnel policy would be discussed again on October 8th without any staff input or feedback. She offered to give up to 5 staff limited time to speak at the meeting. She asked me to draft an email for her that she could send to the staff. I sent a draft to her and she sent that exact draft email to the staff. On October 8th, which was the date of the meeting, I put an updated copy of the statement of no confidence in the board's mailboxes and also emailed them because at that point we had the entire staff sign with the exception of Erin. At 6 o'clock I attended the first meeting since my return to work. No minutes have been posted for that meeting. At the beginning of the meeting, Chair Thomas confirmed the board was not planning to remove the staff's annual cost of living or merit pay increases and cited that their attorney recommended removing the language so that the board wasn't guaranteeing anything to the staff. As she promised, 5 staff members were given the opportunity to speak. I was one of the people that spoke. I, during that time, reflected on my public comment from April 2nd and restated that the board's inaction spoke loudly to me. And I will say that tonight that sentiment still applies. The board, again, had not involved the staff or sought staff feedback revising the personnel policy. More than half the staff would be impacted by the change to merit pay, and annual reviews would cease to be a motivator for outstanding job performance. And I also added that the board was treating the staff as a budget line, a dollar sign, and a liability. We also discussed at that meeting my attendance at board meetings. It wasn't voted on at that meeting. But Chair Thomas did respond to Erin's question regarding why I would not be invited, as most of the problem is the money. I believe that in the current version of the personnel policy, with you removing admin time, you have negated the money problem, in my opinion. There was a vote to have me attend all regular meetings and special meetings at that meeting, and that motion failed with a 3-3 tie vote. November 5th, I attended the Board of Trustees meeting as a compensated staff member, and I also spoke during public comment. I had it says in the minutes that I had deep concerns that the changes to the draft personnel policy were written without the input of staff. I asked that the board review the policies of other towns like Goffstown, and that instead of removing figures pertaining to the cost of living, you could add a disclaimer instead. There was also discussion about the staff's annual holiday gift at that meeting, and Treasurer McLaughlin said at that meeting that it was an odd thing to be discussing because they received the statement of no confidence a month ago, and this basically questioning whether the staff deserves a gift because of it. The discussion was brought up again about me attending Board of Trustees meetings regularly as a staff member. And in the minutes, it says that concerns were raised again about the bylaws prohibiting me from attending, and resulting in significantly less informed decision making on part of the board. The discussion was postponed to allow time for a subcommittee to meet with the staff, and that never happened. A new draft of the personnel policy was attached to the November 5th meeting agenda. You can tell the difference between this draft because it is labeled Draft Revised September 2025, and the title is Left Justified. In this version, the administrative time benefit covering exempt employees was removed entirely and replaced with 2 additional floating holidays for exempt employees and 3 additional for the director. All mention of an annual cost of living increase was removed. Instead, the policy states that the trustees are responsible for determining the fair market wage scale for work and to make appropriate changes as warranted. In the time since, Budget Committee member, Vice Chair Kate Burbidge has brought to your attention in writing that that wording is not acceptable for the default budget. So you are essentially removing the staff's, well, promise that you've given us, that you're still going to be giving us COLA and merit. Because if the budget goes into default, the money won't be there. The structure of the staff's annual merit increases was removed and replaced with the availability of merit increases will be determined by the Board of Trustees based on budgetary and funding conditions. Same thing applies there. Added language states that no employee shall receive greater than the maximum approved compensation for their job category. This statement is in direct conflict with the educational incentive section and benefit because that is paid in addition to an employee's maximum salary range. Added language also states that part-time employees may be awarded prorated holidays, not a guarantee, based on their average work week, while 13 paid holidays shall be granted to full-time employees. And the tuition reimbursement benefit is limited to eligible full-time employees, so you've removed part-time employees entirely. On November 13th, I emailed the board about missing meeting minutes that had not been posted for October. On November 24th and December 1st, I emailed the board regarding revisions to the December 3rd meeting agenda that were needed and that you were missing supporting materials attached to it. On November 25th, the board met with their attorney in non-public session. No staff members were present. The public minutes of the meeting, written by Vice Chair Palmieri, reflected that the board would be looking into hiring an investigator and an auditor. On November 26th, I emailed the board on behalf of the staff and requested a current copy of the draft personnel policy that would be discussed at the December 3rd Board of Trustees meeting. On November 27th, we received an email, the staff and I received an email from Chair Thomas that stated the personnel policy will be postponed until at least January and that she would send out a new agenda that evening or the next day. There was no document attached to that email, and a new agenda for that meeting was not posted. On December 3rd, Chair Thomas sent drafts of the bylaws and personnel policy to be posted with the agenda at 10:44 a.m. for that same day meeting. The personnel policy attached to her email was the same version posted on the October 8th meeting agenda that was labeled revised October 4th. At 2:30 p.m., I asked why the draft of the bylaws did not include my attendance at meetings as we had discussed on the November 5th meeting. I also asked why the personnel policy draft was being posted when Chair Thomas had told the staff that the board would not be discussing the policy until at least January. Nobody responded to that email. At 7 p.m., I was at the meeting as a staff member, and before the meeting began, Treasurer McLaughlin noted that the incorrect version of the personnel policy had been posted and printed by the staff. That was the same one we received from Chair Thomas. At that point, I left the meeting to print the correct version. Treasurer McLaughlin emailed the document to me, and that draft was the same version of the personnel policy that said it was revised September 25 with the title left justified that had more benefits removed for the staff. The board returned to a discussion about the bylaws and specifically the inclusion of the assistant director at board meetings. And the board moved to accept the bylaws without adding me back in as a staff member regularly attending. Chair Thomas confirmed I would not be attending the next meeting as a staff member and that the board would be revising my job description. To date, the board has not revised my job description. The personnel policy was then discussed, despite other trustees saying it should not be discussed because Chair Thomas said that she would not be discussing it and the board would not be discussing it. The board continued on and reviewed a portion of the document, but not all of it. Trustee Morocco also said at that meeting that their attorney had advised the board not to touch the document. The board returned to the personnel policy later in the meeting and took the time to review about half, I would say, and then called for a vote. I stated that doing so would open them up to potential discrimination because the document did not include effective dates for changes, and it would mean that some of the staff would be treated differently for part of the year. The board revised their motion with my recommendation, and the motion passed. To date, we have not, as I said before, received this personnel policy that was updated on December 3rd with the updates that were voted on. 2 staff members spoke during public comment that night and shared how the board's actions and decisions have negatively impacted them. There's more about me requesting personnel policy, not receiving it. There was a staff email that retaliation was brought up as a concern, particularly because the personnel policy had further removal of benefits after the statement of no confidence. There was more of me reminding the board that minutes had not been posted, and I told you the date for when I submitted this grievance. I also would like to state what has happened since I submitted this grievance. In me anticipating, no matter what the board decides to do with the interim director position, that I would somehow be getting additional responsibilities because of Erin's departure, I have been setting some boundaries for how I need the board to work with me in order to make this work. On January 5th, I sent an email to the board requesting that the library either be closed or that the board postpone its meeting on January 7th, and this was due to several staff members requesting time off to be able to attend the Board of Trustees meeting. The response I received from Liz was that the first hour of the meeting will be a 91A non-public meeting, starting with the Board of Trustees discussing employee-related business, and then inviting Erin into the non-public meeting to collaboratively prepare an exit strategy. There is no reason to close the library early. The general public, including the staff, will be invited to join the meeting at approximately 8 p.m. I said, thank you for the response. We will deny the time off request we cannot accommodate so that the library can remain open. Then that meeting happened, and you had public comment at the start of the meeting. So the employees that were working that night that asked for time off to attend that meeting missed the opportunity to get public comment. On January 9th, I shared with you that a Union Leader article had been published on the front page regarding what's been going on with the board and Erin's departure. Also on January 9th, I met with Liz. Liz stopped in at the library, had not called ahead, had not scheduled an appointment with me. It was about 2:30 in the afternoon on a Friday, and I was in the middle of training an employee. I told her that, and she said, okay, I'll wait for you to be available. And I said, that will be Monday. And she said, that's not going to work for me. So I made our employee wait to train so I could meet with Liz. And then what I had planned to do after training, I ended up staying late past when the library closed to do. And so I wrote an email to the board that evening, and I said, I would like to formally request that you call or email ahead to make an appointment with me as much as possible prior to dropping in to speak with me. In the case of today, I had managed my time down to the minute in order to train another staff member, and I ended up staying late to complete payroll. I often cannot stick to my original plan while serving patrons and the public, so please do not misconstrue this request as a complaint or an unwillingness to stay late to get high priority things done. I've proved that I am willing and I know what is expected of my position. However, with the loss of administrative time and the likelihood of more responsibilities coming my way, whatever that looks like, please recognize that I need to draw boundaries. I understand prior notice isn't always possible, but if that's the case, I need you to be aware and to respect that I may not be available or able to drop everything to assist immediately. The response that I received from Chair Thomas was that where I agree that Donna has a great amount of responsibilities going forward, no trustee needs permission to go to the library and inquire if Donna has a few moments to talk. While we are more than able to recognize if the timing is bad, we don't need an appointment to speak to our employee. I responded that I agree that trustees do not need permission to come to the library, as it is a public building where everyone is welcome. I disagree that you've been respectful of my time and able to recognize that the timing is bad. On Friday, you stopped in to speak with me at 2:30. I mean, I told you this, you've not called ahead. And so while this happened while we still had a director. So I'm clearly communicating now that that scenario cannot continue happening. It's not a sustainable practice.
I'm sorry, you're adding stuff that was not even part of that.
No,
We're
Liz,
waiting.
you need to let her speak. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, you need to stop speaking.
Okay.
Okay, so respect only goes one way, all right?
No,
okay.
Liz.
Let Donna
Liz,
I think
this
she
has
should-
happened. This is directly related to my complaint, and it's happened in the time since you have
How
not met
much
with
more
me.
do you have? Because it's not the complaint that you prepared for us. We're running out of time.
No, you're
Okay.
not.
You did not give me a time limit.
No, you didn't.
We have a time limit of 2 hours.
You did not give me
A
a
hard
time
stop.
limit.
You're saying things that you now, that were not part of the complaint.
That are still related
Okay,
to the complaint.
well, you
And
don't need
there's
to
no-
say anymore. I think you've said a lot about the complaint.
Liz, she
Okay.
could file a second grievance, or we could let her speak.
She can do a second grievance
I
then,
think
okay?
it's just,
Okay, she can do that.
You
We
look
have to
bad right
move
now.
on.
You don't
You're
want
one
to.
of the people who said you'd be out the door at 8 o'clock.
Liz,
So, you know what?
This is not about me, we owe Donna these minutes.
How many more minutes do you request?
I don't know. I'm almost done.
Please continue. We'll watch the clock.
The next email I wrote was on January 14th, in which I reminded the board that there were 5 sets of minutes that had not been posted to the public. On January, this is to go backwards a little bit, sorry. On January 9th, I emailed because Liz came in again, and I, in order to protect myself, because there's been a pattern of me being told that what the directions that I received were not what was said. I started documenting and writing to the entire board what our conversation was. So on January 9th, I said, I wanted to confirm the items you requested when you came in today. This was to Liz, Aaron, and all of the trustees. It included a list of what was requested. I also said, you confirmed that you want the library staff to submit all 2025 town annual report information for the library and the trustees. You acknowledge that the trustees will not be reviewing or approving the trustees' financial information prior to submission, and that staff will provide copies of the full report to the trustees after submitting it to the town. There was a reply from Laura that that was not true, that the board did need to approve it. And Liz responded to that and said, we discussed that Aaron should complete the town annual budget and Colleen shall continue to produce the financial section of the report, but she in no way suggested that the board relinquish their obligation to review the report before turning it over to the town. She said that I stated that Aaron and I would review the report that Colleen prepares. That is true, I did say that. Maybe that's where you got the idea that you were not planning to review the document in total. Let me reassure that the board will review the document before it gets turned over to the town, and Jan as treasurer will review Colleen's report. I responded, Liz, I did not get any ideas. That is not what we discussed, and that is why I put it in writing to the board after we met. Unfortunately, I can no longer trust that any verbal instructions I receive from an individual trustee are an accurate representation of the board's opinions or decisions. I formally ask that all requests for information as well as directives or instructions be delivered in writing. If they are made verbally, I will continue documenting them in writing to the full board to prevent any further misunderstandings. And I went on to explain the financial reports. This was the second boundary that I have set since the time I submitted my grievance. Yesterday, actually several days, we've had an email chain where I have tried to get clarification on this meeting, what exactly would take place if I was to attend as a compensated staff member, how the meeting would proceed exactly, which Erin read some of a moment ago. Liz also asked me for a list of what I was looking for demands, and I made it clear that I don't have demands. I have a list of what I'm requesting as an outcome. Most of it I included in my letter, that I want a full restoration of library staff fringe benefits. Feel free to include the disclaimer that I suggested you do in order to protect yourselves, because I understand why you said you need to do that. To invite me back to Board of Trustees meetings and the Assistant Library Director in general going forward. And also I asked for a written apology to the library staff from the Board of Trustees, taking accountability for the board's retaliatory behavior and documenting an action plan with a timeline that details how the board intends to rebuild trust and a collaborative working relationship with the staff. I then received an email from Liz today, early this morning, that said, I asked why, so I was told that I would be excused from this meeting after my grievance, which would be approximately 6:30 p.m. And I asked why that was the case, because at the last meeting, you publicly told me that the board was going to have a discussion with me regarding the interim director role. And you said, as far as the interim director slot goes, I asked you twice if you would like to be considered for the interim slot. Both times you wanted to negotiate the position. Obviously, you were really not keen to fill the position, so we will be considering a possible interim position or other alternatives. Your expectation of a discussion was offered to you at the last meeting, and you didn't express an interest without negotiation. For many of you that were here at that meeting, I in no way said I was not interested. I said that I needed to have a conversation with the board. So I responded today and said I'm very willing and overly prepared to take on the interim role. You know this, as you've publicly praised my work and vital role at the library. However, I'd like to discuss expectations and compensation with the board if an offer is extended to me. You were not prepared to answer my questions about compensation or the scope, so there was nothing complete to accept or decline. My request for more information is not the same thing as expressing disinterest. If the board's expecting acceptance without defined terms, which has been a pattern of meeting compliance without us having anything to say about it, that's not a sustainable governance practice. I'm seriously concerned about how setting boundaries is being interpreted here. And that's the case for all three that I have asked for in the time since I submitted this grievance. I have seen and experienced what the board has put Erin through, and I am not willing to be treated the same way. As with any employee, I deserve fair compensation and a face-to-face discussion with the board. As a loyal employee and public servant to the Londonderry community, it is difficult not to see this as another act of retaliation. And lastly, yesterday, I learned, which I am very upset about this, that the Board of Trustees had the opportunity, was extended the opportunity by the town to have an emergency meeting before Monday's town council meeting to restore the funding for the part-time children's librarian next year. And the board declined.
Whoa.
This is purposefully keeping the staff understaffed. And not only that, but you're openly defining what the public and the voters asked for. You had the opportunity handed to you on a silver platter to be the heroes, to mend some of what's been broken here with the staff. And you didn't take it. It was handed to you. And that is extremely upsetting. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna go into non-public now.
I'd like to make a motion to go into non-public, please.
Do I have a second?
Jan McLaughlin. Oh, yeah, I'm all.
Do we need an RSA?
You need to read this. 91A dash 3 colon. No, 91A dash,
It's
91 dash A colon 11 A.
Okay,
11
second.
to A.
Second.
Roll call, Jan?
Jan McLaughlin, yes?
Helen Palmieri, yes.
Liz Thomas, yes?
Nancy Hendricks, yes.
Beth Baraco, yes.
Okay.
I make a motion to go into public session. Is that the next motion?
Hold on.
Yes. Make a motion to go
Second.
into public session.
Suck it up, kid.
Jan McLaughlin, yes?
Helen Palmieri, yes.
Liz Thomas, yes?
Nancy Hendricks, yes.
Beth Baraco, yes.
I make a motion that we seal the minutes of the meeting, seal
The non-public.
the
For how long?
non-public for 5 years.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Nancy.
Okay?
Jan.
I, Jan McLaughlin.
I, Helen Palmieri.
Liz Thomas?
Nancy Hendricks, yes.
Beth Baraco, yes.
Nancy?
Welcome back.
What? Can I go now?
Have a safe trip down.
Thank you,
Okay?
thank you. I
Yes,
appreciate that.
Be
We'll
careful.
be thinking about
It's-
you.
Thank
It's,
you. Thank you.
be careful, but also be careful outside, because the things.
icy?
Yeah, things
Oh.
are supposed to get iced up tonight.
I hope
those
you're not
of you
flying
that
back
don't
on
know,
Saturday or Sunday, or Sunday or Monday.
4 deaths in my family this
You're
year.
not getting back.
And I'm going
No,
back
no,
to
I know, I think the
Mexico
storm
to
is-
settle an estate, so.
Mexico?
New Mexico.
Nancy, are you flying back on Sunday or Monday?
It's supposed to be bad this
I don't
weekend.
think you're going, I don't think you're
Texas
coming
has
back.
declared a, state of emergency already because of what's coming.
This weekend, huh?
Okay, so,
Okay,
Which
let's
we want
move
to
on
take care
because
of.
we need,
All right.
okay, yes, Donna?
I just wanted to share, I looked up
Guys,
Excuse me.
I looked up the dates that the meeting room is available next week. The only day it's available in the evening is Monday the 26th.
Monday the 26th, okay.
so, all right.
okay,
Monday,
we'll be digging out.
That's a
Right.
budget committee. That's the last budget
No,
committee
there's no
meeting, isn't
budget
it?
committee.
Oh, there's none,
They
just,
just
oh,
met.
we're done. Then,
Yeah, I
okay.
think they're, I don't
I
think they're
think
doing
we're
it more.
done.
The next, I think, is deliberative.
Yeah.
Deliberative
Yes, the
session's next.
deliberative, yeah.
But
Yep.
as we
Unless
know,
they decide on another.
the storm's coming for that day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're, weather permitting, we'll meet on Monday, okay?
Okay, what time?
Mm.
I'd like to do it at 6. What does everyone think?
On Monday?
Yeah.
What if we're digging out?
Oh,
That's my
yeah,
only
yeah,
thing I'm
yeah.
gonna tell you
No,
right
we
now.
said weather permitting.
Oh, weather permitting, okay, I
Weather
apologize,
permitting.
I apologize.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Does Beth, would 6 work for you
Yeah.
as opposed to 7? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I close at 5:30, so
Oh,
as long as there's no
Assuming
snow-
kids get picked up.
It's right, yeah.
I
As
promise
long as
you
nobody leaves with
that
their children,
if
yeah.
you're delayed, we won't take any votes until you get back, okay?
You heard it here first.
It's 4 o'clock my time where I am, but, because there's 2 hours difference.
Yes.
So just call me.
Okay,
I'll
So,
call you, hun.
okay.
If the library is closed,
You can vote
are
on the
you
phone.
Keep up your
Yes.
courage.
If the library is
Yes.
closed, Liz, if the library is
Night.
closed, when it's the snow,
We're not gonna meet, obviously. I said weather committed,
Yeah,
permitting,
weather
yeah,
committee.
Okay.
yeah,
We may have to look at seeing if there's a room available
absolutely.
in town
Moose Hall or something,
Well,
yeah.
maybe we could use the
for another
study
night
room.
as a backup.
Maybe we could use the study room and just put it, the a camera on a thing to record
If,
it.
so
Well,
the
no,
problem
'cause
is
this
if
is gonna
you-
be a
if
meeting.
it's public,
This is a public meeting, you're not gonna fit
I
in
don't
a
think
setting.
there's a fire code for how many people can
Yeah,
be in.
and we have other town, buildings in town like, you know,
The small room, what's that small room?
Sunnycrest?
Sunnycrest might be available.
Sunnycrest, yeah.
But sometimes they.
Do you want us to contact the town?
Yeah, my hands full.
No, I think.
Well, you said this room is available
on
that one
Monday.
day,
On
right?
Monday,
On
but
Monday.
Only on Monday.
we're
Yeah.
not sure if weather's gonna cancel
could
it.
you check?
If it, yeah, I
If
think
it's
we're
canceled,
gonna,
we're gonna have to figure it out.
we're gonna have to, we'll contact the town, I'll
We'll
ask you to
inquire.
contact, and find out another day. But then we're not gonna get the whole board, you know, that's the problem.
Yeah,
If
that's
not,
okay.
you know, but
We're still not gonna have the whole.
we're just I'm gonna pray to God, and I'm a good person, so that he's gonna answer us.
Maybe.
Okay, guys, don't choke, don't choke on that one.
Maybe.
Okay, so we're gonna maybe meet Monday.
Yes,
What's today, Wednesday?
6 o'clock here
Okay.
to complete
It's already-
stays.
since it already
But we
went.
do wanna go over, Erin, your the annual report, okay, because,
I'm ready, whenever you
yes,
are.
I'm ready,
Okay.
okay?
I was waiting for you guys to finish
Okay.
finish that up.
Okay.
So, do you want me,
Yep.
so,
Go. Take the wheel.
I will do my best. So in your packet or on the table, you have the annual report that we're hoping to submit to the town. This is due on the 30th. Every year that I've been here, I've written the director's report, and my staff and I have put together the statistics. Actually, just my staff has put together these statistics, which is the second page. In the past, we've added the list of staffing and board members, although last year I think they did not include the staffing, but that would be up to Cheerston. I think it depends on how many pages they want in the
Okay,
book.
yeah.
So if they don't add that, that's fine. But the main things that will go in there, most likely, if it's the same as last year, is the director's report, which is the statement that I have there, and the stats, and then the trustees' annual financial report. So technically, the annual report needs to be approved, but before that, you have to approve the last quarter, because the annual
Yes.
report is a summary of all the reports.
Yeah.
So to my understanding, the last quarter is the only one that has not been approved by the board. So I don't know, Jan, if you have knowledge with you,
Yeah.
or whether those
So-
numbers are correct.
Yeah, the last quarter is fine. The problem is the final trustee report, because that is not correct the way it's formatted, because we have mixed things together. They're mixed.
So which are you looking at, that, I just wanna make sure.
The annual one.
Oh, that one's not correct?
And this one, the numbers are correct if you do it that way, but it's not really correctly formatted. It's
Well,
just-
it's the same format as these, so.
No, it's not, because this is separated out by the accounts, and this is combining it kind of together. So the book and the trustee account stuff is all kind of together, and the expenditures are separated out, but
So it's just the income you want split?
it's just splitting the income.
Okay.
So I've got it at home, but I don't have it here. So, but I went through it, and the numbers are correct, the numbers all balance out right. It's just, it needs to be clearer from the standpoint of which of these go with which ones. We know which ones they go with, but, so that, it's clearer on the other hand.
Okay. So so
Just
is
like
it-
we've had with the expenditures.
I understand, but I'm just asking, is it acceptable by the board if you guys are able to approve it and trusting my
Yeah,
staff,
just
which, because I won't be here, to make that change and to be able to submit it on time?
Yeah, all
Without
you're
the board
changing
meeting again?
is the
Yes,
format,
that's
you're not
fine.
changing the figures, so
Just-
we,
Right,
yeah.
the numbers will not change, it's
Yeah.
just gonna look a little different.
It's just gonna
Okay.
move it around, move
Okay.
it
Yeah.
together. Just group it together, it'll be a little bit clearer.
Is there anything else in this report, so does the board want to approve this with those changes suggested as being able to submit to the town?
Yeah.
And is it expected that I submit this before I leave, or would you want Donna to submit it after I leave?
Donna you can, in case there's anything at the last minute, or if you're reformatting, it takes a couple more days. That way you don't have to rush with that, okay?
Okay. So before, I don't know if the board needs to vote or
Yes.
just take a,
I make a motion that we approve this this, just with the changes of reformatting the, expenditures and, well, the expenditures are there, but the,
Trustee, no.
it's the income, sorry,
Income.
that is
Okay.
the right word,
Second,
income.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call. Beth?
Yes, Beth Marco.
Yes, Liz Thomas?
Yes, Helen Palmieri.
Yes, Jan McLaughlin.
Okay. So you've got the vote to submit it
Mm-hmm.
as reformatted.
So does the, but I, should the board vote to, approve that last quarter as well?
Oh, we
Sure.
have to vote first on that.
Vote
Okay,
on the
because we
last
just approved the
quarter.
annual, I just wanna make
Yeah.
sure that,
Yeah.
that's also
Vote, vote on the last quarter.
Yeah.
I make a motion we vote on the last, that the last quarter is accepted.
Second?
Beth? Roll call?
Yes, Beth Marco.
Yes, Liz Thomas?
Yes, Helen Palmieri.
Yes, Jan McLaughlin.
Okay. Thank you for keeping up on this and for doing that.
We
Is
have
that
no
right?
Walter, try.
I will, can I just add, I would suggest the board take a look at the difference in the statistics between last year and this year, because we had significant increases.
I'm sorry,
Significant increases
In
in
this packet.
like circulation.
Oh,
Front-
okay.
In the front statistics.
so we're growing.
So,
Yes.
yeah,
We're growing, yeah.
yep.
Yep.
Great, thank you so much for that.
And thank you, Erin, for
Mhm.
all the work
Yes,
you've
thank you.
done to bring us to this point where this is what we can say happened this year. So thank you.
Erin,
Well, I
it's a-
couldn't have done it without my amazing staff.
Erin, it's a
Awesome.
beautiful legacy, so thank you, sorry.
Yes,
Very,
yeah.
very, very much.
Yeah, you're welcome, thank you. Sorry I couldn't be longer.
No, everything you did was appreciated.
What else do we have to
Okay,
take care of? Oh, we were talking about do we have the changes?
What if I just send it to you guys? What if I send it to everybody?
Send it to us, and if there's any big,
I'm looking at the agenda of what,
The only thing left is other business as a time sensitive nature.
Yes.
I don't know what that is.
I added
Yeah.
a couple details to the job posting, that you gave some feedback, to Nancy last week. And
Oh,
Liz.
yeah.
So
With the
I'm
exit-
gonna
exit.
add those in
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna send them out to the
Yeah.
board.
before, and then
for
we'll
future
post the
posting.
job.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I
We
mean,
don't care.
That's not
I would be, I'm happy you're doing that, thank you. Good luck.
So your information for the, on the exit interview was important.
Yes,
Wonderful,
yeah.
thank
We're
you.
implementing
hear.
it right away.
That's good to hear,
yeah,
thank you.
you had several points that we, might have overlooked.
Okay.
I make a motion to, my brain can't fire right now. End the meeting, what would that be called?
Adjourn.
Adjourn.
To
Okay.
adjourn.
Oh, did we have something?
There's the other business of a time
think we're all
sensitive
set.
nature?
I
Okay,
think
I
we're all
didn't know.
set, yeah.
Didn't sure that's that, okay.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
I seconded.
Okay.
Yes, Beth Marco.
Yes, Liz Thomas?
Yes, Helen Palmieri.
Yes, Jan McLaughlin.
Thank you very much.
Everyone have a good evening.